everybody, welcome back to Candid Talk. My name is Mahi, your host. You already know that by now, so. So today we have a guest who knows all about what it's like to reset, realign, and recenter yourself when it comes to dealing with feeling overwhelmed with life and dealing with burnout, like we all deal with, but we don't talk about. And now she's made it her mission to help and guide people around the world, teenagers and adults, to kind of find the balance in their life, feel free, and also gain some clarity. So to uncover the invisible behind the visible with what she gives us, let's welcome Miss Ketki to our show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So how are you doing today?
Today, I am good. It took me a while to get here, but I'm good.
Yeah. I love the whole look you have. I love your outfit. It looks
thank
really
you.
chic.
So much.
Do you enjoy putting together like really cute outfits that help you feel confident in some way?
Really, yes, I do. Because before I became a coach, I was actually working in fashion as well. So I have a long career in fashion for over 15 years. And this is something that I enjoy doing. It's something that now comes naturally to me as well. So yeah, I have a good time with fashion and also helping my friends with it. So I really enjoy that side. And I'm still sticking to, keeping up with what's happening in fashion, the business side, and even the trend side, even though I've completely pivoted my career into coaching now. So yeah.
I didn't know you were in fashion. I love fashion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've always wanted to also be a fashion designer when I was a child.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like I've designed so many of my own things.
That's nice.
One figure. So how did you get started with fashion? What was it like? Like how was it?
So I think, like you said, I think from a very young age, I was also very interested in fashion. And at that time, growing up in the 90s, now I'm like giving away my age and everything, but in the 90s, I could think of just designing. But as I grew up, my first introduction to fashion was actually through modeling. So I was modeling back in India. I'm from Chennai, so I was modeling over there as well. And slowly but surely, I got more interested in what happens behind the scenes. And then from there, I went to study fashion from Paris. And that's how I started getting into the business of fashion as well. Went to New York to do an internship and then finally moved here to work with the Landmark Group and started getting into accessories and footwear. So yeah, it was a very different type of trajectory. But I think just getting one's foot into the fashion door kind of showed me what all was possible. And then I just followed my curiosity. So that's what really happened.
Wow, you're so proud.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that is so cool. Have you ever had the chance to attend like Fashion Week or anything like that?
Not really. I think when I was in New York, I did attend a couple of shows, but it's really hectic. I mean, it looks very glamorous, and you see all these amazing pictures, and you see all these amazing celebrities going over there dressed up, but it is hectic as it's really maddening. Yeah.
Did you have any run-ins with like any celebrities or someone? Did you ever feel like starstruck meeting anyone?
Well, now that I think about it, I'm sure I have been, but I can't remember. I don't think I've met too many celebrities in that sense. So I don't remember, to be very honest with you. I don't clearly remember.
That's okay. Okay, so how has your week been? We're almost halfway through the week. What is something like good that happened to you this week? Maybe something small, but you really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. I think this week, and okay, so I've been really okay, I've been very intentional. I have stopped calling myself a multitasker, and I've started calling myself a multiple tasker. So the reason why that there's a shift over there is because I stopped trying to do so many different things at the same time. And what I'm now intentionally doing is paying attention to one task at a time and kind of carving out time for that. And with that, the result is I'm able to do many more tasks. So by the end of the day, I feel like, wow, I have accomplished so much. and my head is not scrambled because I'm trying to do so many different things at one time. It's very peaceful. It's feeling very accomplished. So I think I'm very happy to say I have accomplished a lot of my things on my to-do list. And my to-do list, being a mother, also can be quite long. So yeah, so that's what I'm happy about this.
That's so nice because my brain isn't scrambled because it's like I can't sit still these days because it's like I have so much to do. No, but I have to do this. But then I'm like, while I'm doing this, I'm like,
Yes,
no, but I have something else to do as well.
yes,
And then being also like, oh no, I have to start my assignment as well. But then like,
yes.
oh no, I have to do this. Boring you probably, but yeah.
But why don't you tell me, what do you do when you know all these things are going on? What is your method?
Well, my normal method would honestly just panic and then go to sleep. But see, I know that it's not too much.
Mhm.
Like I guess you can say, way of dealing with things is I watch shows
Mhm.
and I watch like all of my shows and everything because that's how I've always dealt with things.
Mhm.
So I do that. But then these days, like when I'm watching those as well, I'll watch like funniest of things, but then my brain is somewhere else.
Yes.
And then I'm like, it doesn't feel that much, but I just don't know how to deal with it.
Mhm.
Because you get out of one thing and then you jump into something else immediately.
Yes.
So you're like, it's not much, but my
Mm.
brain keeps making it a big deal, even though it's not. So I guess my current way of dealing with it is my mood swings up and down. I'm still learning how to deal with it because it's not easy, but I guess I have to because this is not healthy,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, and that's okay, you know. The good thing is you have the awareness that you know you have to deal with it. And what I've also heard you say is, okay, I deal with it by watching shows, but that is actually distracting you from what you need to be doing. And so I guess my other question for you would be, how do you get yourself to start doing those things that you know you need to get to?
Well, like you said, I'm actually a multitasker as well. And the thing is, I get too involved in what I do.
Mhm.
So, for example, whenever I used to have assignments that were for maybe the next semester or something, or like 2, 3 months, I had to give it later. I used to start working on it immediately and wouldn't stop. So I would let everything just like consume me. And then I'm like, wait, but I'm losing so much time just like being glued to my computer when I could be talking to my parents. I could
Okay.
sit and maybe do something productive. I just hate the fact that I have to constantly like, just look and type and stuff like that. So I am a multitasker as well, but it's like even when I give myself breaks, I'm like, oh no, I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you something. I've heard this so much, because I've heard a lot of this from my clients as well, where they say, I do carve out time and I do pay a lot of attention to what I'm doing, but then they say that they feel guilty because they're not doing something else. And a lot of the time, also talking to adults, it'll be like guilt because they're not spending as much time with their children. But here's the thing, right? You can't spend equal amount of time on everything. Just because you're spending 4 hours a day at doing maybe one task or at work doesn't mean you can spend 4 hours a day with your children. If you see how many hours we're awake, that's not possible to do. And that's why I tell people, don't kill yourself to find balance. Try for harmony. Because what happens when you have that harmony type of mindset is you're like, okay, this task is going to take maybe this amount of time. And once I'm done with this, it'll free up my time to have quality time with my parents or my children, or then do some other task, And so there'll be days when you're filled with tasks with not that much family time. And there'll be days when you'll be able to give all that time to your family and, not be consumed by tasks. So harmony versus balance. Try that.
I am, I'm like, it's nice that I'm aware of it,
Yeah.
because I've had this thing since I was a kid, right? Ever since I was in school. Even during exam times, I'd wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, study for 2 hours, go back, wake up after like 3 hours, start studying again the entire day. So it's kind of been there since I was a child. But I mean, now I'm kind of like, I can't drive myself insane over it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
too young for this. Okay. So what does reset look like for you? in terms of self-care, do you have any books? Do you have any non-negotiables, movies, TV shows, whatever, like that you like to do?
Yeah. So reset for me, I think means differently on different days. But what it really means to me on every single day is checking in with yourself. So I would wake up in the morning and I have like these affirmations for myself, where one thing which I absolutely love is today I'm going to respond, not react.
Oh, okay.
So what that means is whatever's coming my way, I'm going to take my time, I'm going to process it, and I'm going to see how I respond to it and not just have a knee-jerk reaction to what happens, and that's a lot of work that goes in before you get into that stage as well. But practice makes perfect. So that is what I tell myself every morning. And throughout the day, I'm just asking myself, oh, am I feeling okay? What do I need? Something is feeling off. Because I'm constantly checking in with myself, I know when I'm feeling off and what I need to do. And then by the evening, I love to just watch mindless TV for some time. I absolutely love mindless TV. So all the shows that a lot of people would laugh about and not say that they watch, but it's their guilty pleasure, I absolutely love it. And that's my way of de-stressing and just enjoying the evening.
That brings me to my next question. What are your favorite shows, and do you have any guilty pleasure shows?
All of them.
Like what?
I think on Netflix they have this thing called Love is Blind.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So it's like really like trash reality
Yes.
TV, but it's so like drama and
Yes.
scandalous.
I love it. What's not to love? And I love watching that. And now because Netflix knows what I love, it's showing me Love is Blind from Germany, from even Dubai has one.
What?
And from so many different countries. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's getting a lot. But I love it. It's fun.
Do you watch Love Island?
I have not actually. I need to find that because everyone who I've been talking to, they're like, have you watched Love Island? And I'm like, no, I'm the one living under the rock. I don't know what the show is.
I think that's like the OG from like where everything started, and it's
okay.
like English, like British as well.
Okay.
So they have the really interesting accents and they have the interesting people, and sometimes you really question them, and you're like,
Yeah.
why?
Yes.
Oh. So would you say this was the last show like you binge watched, or was it something else?
Binge watched. No, there's another show on Netflix. I think it was called The Survival of the Thickest.
Okay.
I think that's the last show that I binge watched. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's nice. It has some fashion element in it as well. So I really loved it. So
That's so fun. Do you watch RuPaul's Drag Race by any chance?
yes,
Oh,
yes, I'm a big fan.
I've
Yes.
never met anyone who loves that show or like watches that show, so it's so like interesting. I love
Yes.
RuPaul.
Yes, exactly. It's so fun. The entire show is so fun. And I didn't know this, but so I was pregnant in 2012 and I gave birth in 2013. So in 2012, some of them actually came to Dubai to perform.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God. Wow.
And I had gone for the show with my pregnant belly because I was so excited and I loved the show and everything and I'd gone there for it. And many years later, when I was rewatching something, I was like, oh my God, these are the people who had come down. So amazing. There was
Full
always a
circle.
connection.
Did you get any pictures with them, or did you have an interaction with them?
No, not at all. There were too many people and yeah, it was a crazy evening, but no, I didn't get any pictures with
Were you fangirling? Like,
I was just happy to be there, and the atmosphere was electric and amazing. But more than that, no.
okay, so let's go back in the past just a bit. What was life like growing up for you? You know, what were things like? What were you like as a child, as a teenager, into like an adult? What was everything like for you?
Oh, wow. Well, growing up, I grew up in India. So there was a lot of pressure to perform in school, and everything was consumed by studies and even extracurricular activities. Everything was always geared towards getting into college. And after college, it was always getting the job. So, it was all I was also part of that. All my friends were a part of it. So I guess we didn't know anything different. Now when I have my son who's 11, and I can see that, how his schooling is so different from how my schooling was. I'm so happy for him. And now I realize, oh my gosh, that was a lot of pressure that we went through. But at the same time, we had such a great time. I was in school, we had a lot of cultural activities that happened. So it was really nice. I can't say because we didn't know anything different. I just enjoyed my school life in that sense. And the friends I made back then are still my friends today. So it's really nice. We have a reunion once a year. So it's really nice in that sense. And I think I was always very curious and maybe rebellious also in a way. So yeah, it was very interesting and all naughty and mischievous stuff that we did back in college.
How I want to
Which we will talk off camera.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I want to hear a story. So how were you like the rebel child? Did you do anything that got you into like major trouble with your parents or like in school or something? So you have, I'm assuming.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because I am a very outspoken person, and what you see is what you get with me. Though I was a very good student, and I wouldn't do something that would put me in trouble as such, but because I was so outspoken and my personality was such, people would think I was always part of the usual suspects, which I didn't appreciate, but I mean, it is what it is. But I was always happy to know that people thought I was so adventurous in that sense.
Cool. That's really cool. Okay, so what were your aspirations growing up? Like when we're kids, we're so imaginative and we're like, I want to be a princess, I want to be an astronaut, something like that.
Yes.
And how has it changed up until now? Like up until what you wanted to do as a child and where you are now over the years, how has that like evolved?
I think when I was a child, I definitely had my moments where I did say I wanted to be an astronaut, but then I realized we had to learn a lot of maths for it, and I didn't like that. So that quickly changed. But I think fashion or something in design was always in my mind. So I used to do a lot of painting when I was growing up as well, and I was very creative with design and everything. So once I finished school, I did go and do some design studies after school, and then I did media studies in college. So that always kept me up to date with what's happening in media in terms of journalism or what's happening in television production, radio production, all of that. So that was really fun. And while I was in college, just like I told you, I managed to get into modeling, and then life completely changed from there. And I think I just followed what made me curious. So once I got into modeling, I then realized, oh, there's another side to what fashion can be. And that's what I studied and got into later as well. So I would say lucky in that sense, because my mother didn't really pressure me to say, this is the job you have to have. She also had the patience to say, okay, I know you'll find your way. So find your way.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that she gave me that freedom, which allowed me to do that and allowed me to follow where my curiosity led me. And the same is what is happening right now, because till about 2020, I was still working in fashion retail. I even tried starting my own fashion startup. And unfortunately, 2020, because of COVID and all of those things, it didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. And that's what led to my burnout. And in that burnout, which was my second one, was quite bad. And in resetting my whole mindset and everything that I needed to, I came across coaching. And that made me curious even more. So learning how to do that and going through that whole coaching journey myself, I now help other people to have the tools and the strategies so that they don't burn out.
So were you always like this emotionally mature, or were you like really kind of aware of your feelings, or you just like bottled it up, or you just didn't know how to deal with it?
That's such a good question. So growing up, a lot of people did tell me that I was way older for my age. I spoke way older than my age. I totally didn't know what they meant by that. But I think there was some sort of, I was always aware of how I thought. But that's not to say I didn't suppress my feelings. Because I constantly did that as well, I did not know how to emotionally regulate. Because also when I was growing up, mental health was not spoken about that much. It was still stigmatized, it was still taboo. So no one spoke about it. So I still had my own suppressed feelings and, all of those things. Also, I did have situations in my childhood which did cause me trauma. So because of all of those things, I think it all piled up, piled up, piled up. And then when my startup didn't do so well, I think everything just blew up in my face.
Yeah.
So that's when I went into coaching myself and finally got the help that I also needed to understand what emotional regulation truly means. And so now I can say, yes, now I am emotionally regulated and I know what that means. But it's been a journey.
It definitely was like leading to my next question, where it was like, obviously at that time, mental health, especially, it's such a like people did not give any mind to it. And how like was there stigma surrounding it as you were growing older? Did you have anyone to like turn to and speak to at the time?
At that time, no. Okay, I shouldn't say no. I knew that there were professionals around. We had psychiatrists, we had counselors. I just didn't feel comfortable going to them. So who I would turn to would still be my friends or, my friends who were maybe older in age, and that is how that is who I would turn to. And that's how I coped, really. So some of them gave me good advice and some, I think we just did what we thought was okay at that time.
Okay. So you said emotional suppression, like suppressing your emotions and all, was very prevalent at an early stage of your life. So when did you realize, when you were nearing like a burnout, or you just felt deep down like something was wrong? When did you realize that? And what was your first instinct?
Yeah. So I realized, I think in 2016, something was wrong because what happened was I was still working in fashion retail. My hours were really long. I was a new mother as well, so I was constantly tired. And I remember I was driving in Dubai and at a signal, I fell asleep. And I suddenly woke up with a jerk and I felt so confused and so scared because I was like, how can this happen? I just fell asleep. Luckily, I didn't hurt myself or anyone around me. But that's what made me realize that something is not okay and something had to change. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what had to change and I didn't know what I needed to do about it. But because that came into my head, I started listening to a lot of podcasts and, different podcasts. And a lot of people were interviewing other coaches. And that's what made me also look up on Google what is coaching. And that's when I understood that even there's coaching in the mental health space. But that was still way too early for me. I didn't do anything about it. Back then in 2019, which is 3 years after that, I came across the institute where I first got certified, and they had an open day where they were like, "Oh, come in, let's talk to you about what coaching is and what we teach." So I went in there, really liked it, and I was like, "Okay, if I learn, I'll know how to help myself." So even in 2019, I was already an ICF certified coach. But by then, I had already started working on my fashion startup. So I didn't really do much about it. And I just kept that to the side. Then cut to 2020, early 2021, when I had my second burnout. That's when I realized we cannot push ourselves too much outside of our comfort zone.
Was there something that like triggered the second one as well? Or was it just the same, like long hours? And then also the sort of losing your own child, like the startup was kind of like your child, right? You were like
Yes.
nurturing it and you were putting
Yes.
long hours into it. So all of that just like triggered it.
Yes. I think because it didn't perform the way I wanted it to, and it didn't survive,
Yeah.
everything that was happening at that time, including COVID. I think that just, I took it personally and then it just blew up in my face. There were so many things that I was suppressing and just trying to push through it, saying it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. I was mentally, physically, and spiritually exhausted. I couldn't feel, I was feeling numb. I didn't know what else to do. I doubted myself completely. I was second guessing any decision I would make, including, am I hungry? So all of these things I had in mind. And at that time, even having a coaching certification or knowing what I needed to do as a coach, I couldn't help myself. So that's when I found my coach, and she took me through the journey, because growth happens once you get out of your comfort zone. And we will not let ourselves go out of our comfort zone, because our body and nervous system thinks being in this, even if it's confusion, and even if it feels horrible, this is what you know. So this is your comfort.
So it's familiar.
It's
And if
familiar.
you try to like divert your mindset to something else, you just lose after a while. Because I've tried that
Yes.
myself and it doesn't. So would you say you were kind of stuck in that like very victim mindset kind of state for a
Mhm.
long time? What was that like? Like what's the first thing you did to, even if it was a small thing, like get yourself out of that hole
Mhm.
that you were confused on?
Yeah. So, yes, I was very down.
Mm.
And it came to a point where my family couldn't recognize me. I remember my mom, my husband would even ask me, like, are you okay? You don't seem like yourself. What's going on? And they knew what was happening with the startup and everything. But even more than that, they would ask me, like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I didn't know what to say. But what happened at that time was, because I had other friends of mine who had done the same certification as me, and I was watching their videos, and I saw one girl just bloom like a flower. Because I remember when we did our certification together, she and I were the quiet ones. Even though I don't seem like it, I was the quiet one then. And suddenly I saw a totally different side of her. So something in me made me call her up and ask her, hey, what happened? How come you're so different from what I remember you from back in the day? And she said she had gone through coaching herself. And that's how she gave me the number of a coach. I called her up, and amazing. It was just an amazing way to go through a whole journey, because I had to be taken out of my funk, my comfort zone, whatever it is. I needed someone to pull me out of it. I needed to learn what I needed to learn from that, understand who I am, figure out what my strengths are, and that's what keeps me resetting even today.
So how did that step like bridge the gap between you and your loved ones?
Um, I think your loved ones always want you to be happy and always want what's best for you. And the more you show them that I'm comfortable in my skin, I know what I'm doing, or even though I'm taking a risk, I know it's going to work out. And you having that confidence in yourself, they're like, yeah, we'll support you, and we have that confidence in you as well. And sometimes, even if they don't fully know what they're supporting you with, I think that's when self-confidence comes into play. And you really need to believe in yourself. That unconditional belief, you just need to have it in yourself.
So can you share a moment, aside from the ones you've told me already, where like you didn't necessarily have the tools to deal with what you're feeling? Like, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But now that you look back at it, you're like, okay, here's what I would have done differently. And maybe I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self to just like chill out, just go.
Yeah. I think it's very important, even now, to start becoming aware of your thought patterns.
Yeah.
Because this is what I take my clients through, right? We all have a turn. You know what your results are. You know the behaviors that you did that got you these results. What no one stops to think about is, what was the emotional state I was in that made me behave in a certain way that got me those results? And then let's go one step further, which is, what beliefs do I have that when I got triggered, put me in that emotional state? which then made me behave a certain way and hence my results. So basically, that is the pattern we all have. And once you start getting more aware of it, that's when beautiful things can happen. That's when you understand what's working for you, what's not working for you, what you need to change, which part of that pattern you need to change, because one small tweak changes the entire time. But making that small tweak is taking you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unpacking to that.
So it's like basically how people say, like, when you want to manifest something, you have to start going off of it. Is it you have to rewire your subconscious completely?
Yes.
I've tried to do that. I've failed. I've tried so many times. I have tried. There are days when I'm just like so delusional, but the good kind. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I like good kind delusions.
Well, you know, like how teenage girls are, right? Oh, I like my celebrity crush. We're gonna be together forever. Whatever. But you know, we're like the good kind of delusional, where I feel like on cloud nine, so confident, where I'm like, I don't know how things will happen, but I know it will. Because, like, you know, I trust myself enough where I don't have to think about what I have to do later. It will just come to me. I'm making life easy for myself.
Yes.
But some days when something triggers me, I go and I have this awful habit of overthinking since I was a child. So I go down into this like deep dark hole and it consumes me, and I'm basically trying to pull myself out. You know, like I'm my own therapist. I'm like,
Yes.
So it's so difficult. And then again, I'm back to feeling like, oh no, it's okay, I'm cool. And then again, it's like this whole up and down. So it's like so difficult. What would you say to that?
And you know, that's normal. Even today, even though I know all the tools that I know, it's not like I have only good days. You know, life is like the heart rate monitor, right? It goes up, it goes down. That's when you know you are alive. So you will have your bad days and you will have your good days as well. It's for you to know, okay, even when I'm having a bad day, it's temporary and it's fine. This will pass. And the good days will come, you know? So sometimes it's about being who has the louder voice in your mind. Is it the one that is overthinking and going into the spiral? Or can suddenly this delusional teenager, like you like to call yourself, you know, be louder and say, hey, stop it. You know, sometimes it's just that's like, just stop it. You know, and let's focus our energy on something else. Because what I like to tell everyone is what you focus on, you get more of. So where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you're going to focus on the bad, you're going to get more of it. So if you focus on the good, you're going to get more of that as well. So you just have to say, stop it. What do I want more of? And just follow that. And about manifestation, I have a 3-step process which really helps you manifest as well. And the key is to attach an emotion to what you're trying to manifest. And I have this beautiful, beautiful story that happened to me personally. So many years ago, even before I got into coaching or even understood what manifestation was. I remember this would have been in maybe 2007. I was passing by Dubai, going to Paris to finish off my master's in fashion. And I had I still have family here. And at that time, my family took me around. And I remember JBR was still being built. So we were standing in the marina at this beautiful coffee shop and we were watching the construction on JBR, where all these buildings were going to have this beautiful view of the beach. So I was standing there in this beautiful area and the sun was setting and I was like, one day I want to live here. I want to live in a place like this. That's it. That's it. Cut to 2011. Where am I living?
Oh,
in JBR.
This was 2009 when you said that.
This was 2007.
Okay.
And things just happened in a way that I came to Dubai. And after I got married, my husband moved to Dubai as well. And when we were looking for an apartment, we got this beautiful apartment in JBR. Like, trust me, both of us, when we got it, we're like, are we sure we're seeing this apartment? Is this for real? But then it was so beautiful. And after we moved in there, I'm like, wait a minute. This is something I told myself I wanted to experience back in the day. So, you know, and when I think about it, what fell into place then that made it happen? So for me, what I believe is I felt the emotion of how I would feel living in a place like JBR, having beach as my view. And I was very specific about what I wanted. So I was specific about what I wanted to manifest, and I had an emotion attached to it. And because everything in the universe, quantum science, quantum physics says everything around us is energy. So the energy you give out is what you would receive as well. So yeah, that's how it manifests.
That's crazy. Do you have any other like crazy big stories where you're just like, I can't believe I did that with my own mind, simply?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, this one stands out
Yeah.
because, all of these things happened. But now I can't think of the specifics, but I do know that, when some things happen, I stop and say, wow, did I really do that? So yeah, it does happen. But if I think of a story, I will tell you.
What about when you deal with like, unfavorable like circumstances? Sometimes when you're just dealing with so much around you, so much uncertainty, what do you do then to kind of, when things seem like out of your control, you're just like so helpless.
Yeah.
Instead of spiraling, what do you do to like bring yourself into that state of mind where like, I've done this before. I've gotten what I want before, and I didn't think much about it. So why would it be any different now? Because like you're so aware of things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kind of force yourself to go into that mindset. What would you do then? What have you done then?
So a couple of things. One thing is big. Sorry. One thing that is really important is to take 100% accountability for your life. So that means anything. If something goes good, everyone is happy to take accountability and say, yes, I made this happen. Even when things go bad, you can say, I made this happen. What that allows you to do is, if I can make the good and the bad happen, means I'm in charge of what can happen next. So having that sort of a mindset, when you're going through the feelings that you're going through, it is important to process it. So I wouldn't say if you're feeling frustrated or angry or sad to not feel that and just focus on something else. You have to feel that. But you also have to give yourself a stop time limit.
Yeah.
To say, okay, let it be 1 day, 2 days. But after that, you also have to ask yourself, am I enjoying feeling this way? Because it's very easy to be addicted to feeling bad.
Because that's what you know, and that's what you're
That's
familiar
what you
with.
know. That also gives you the excuses to not do anything else. So you have to ask yourself, is this working for me? Is this not working for me? So having all of these questions, which is the reset and your check-in with yourself, is what helps you change things around for yourself. And there's no one can tell you it will happen in 5 minutes. It's just on you. If you're feeling bad, ask yourself those questions. Is this working for me? Have I processed this enough? Do I still want to continue doing this, or will my energy and my efforts have a better productive way of doing something else? So you need to have a good self-talk. And the language you use for your self-talk also is very important, because you can either keep yourself in the spiral or you can pull yourself out of it and look at manifesting what you want to manifest.
So I will try that. I will try not to spiral again. It's like, whenever I hear stuff like that, it inspires me. You hear like whatever people's success stories or whatever, or how they deal with things and how they've like mastered their mind. And you're just like, I can do that. It doesn't seem hard, but once you start doing it, you're like, ugh, this is stuff.
Yes.
It's very.
Yes, exactly. Because I always believe you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So it's almost like there are two people who live here. And the more you become friends with each other, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
It's normally what I felt when I was growing up. One was always trying to push away the other. That's where the resistance comes. And that's where a lot of people say, I'm going through a crisis. And usually that happens in midlife. Or whenever you have decided that crisis is enough, So that is what I also help my clients with, is to become friends with yourself. Your subconscious is what your habits is, where your habits lie.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have been doing over many years. So it's not something you can change overnight or even in 21 days. Everyone says it takes 21 days to change your habit. But honestly, if you know the pattern, you'll know what you need to change, and then it works in 21 days. So, yeah, you have to become friends with yourself and get your subconscious on board to say we're going to rewire and change things for ourselves.
So, what is something that you've seen adults and like teenagers? What is one thing they both have in common in terms of the people you've met and in terms of what they say, like, I am going through so and so, or I'm dealing with so and so? What do you think both of them have in common?
I think what I commonly hear is they are waiting for others to make them feel good. You know, they always say, they did this and that's why I don't feel good. If they do that, then I will feel good.
Validation.
Validation, right? Always waiting for something else to fall in place for them to feel okay. So that is what I call disassociation. So it's a lot of work where you start validating yourself. And that has to do with self-doubt and how you overcome self-doubt. So once you start validating yourself and you stop waiting for others to validate you or stop waiting for others to be okay for you to be okay, then things work out.
Okay, so what would you tell the people who, you know, their mindset, not mindset, I mean, their thinking is just so rigid, you know, where it's like, nothing like this, you know? Basically, a lot of times you see parents tell their kids, like, this is nothing, get back to studying, do your thing, you have to do this. And, you know, they have the rigid mindset even with themselves. Overwork yourself, get tired, get annoyed at everyone around you, but they won't change. What do you have to say to, like, people like them who just don't want to adapt to this different way of thinking?
Well, I say that I see you, I accept you and respect you for your decisions, but let's have a discussion. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to change them, because if it's working for them, it's working for them. Who am I to change anything? But to stop someone else from trying things for themselves, that is not okay, because it's okay to disagree, but let's not impose our views on others. So that would be my only thing to tell people who have a rigid mindset. If it works for you, great. If you're open to a discussion, amazing. Respect the other person, even if it's your child. Your child is another person. Your child has a mind of their own. They have aspirations of their own, and they might want to try things in their own way, and allow them to do it, because you are their parent and they will come to you if they need your help. And at that time, instead of saying, I told you so, if things go wrong, just hold space for them. And I don't know.
That's so true. I agree. That is so true. Okay, so I have one last question. I know you have a lot of tattoos. Okay, and I've seen some pics. Yeah, no, they look so cool. I've seen like a couple. You know, you have like you shared you have tattoos before. So can you tell me about it? How many do you have?
So I have a phoenix. I have my wedding ring. I have my son's birth date, and I also have a long tattoo here, which is in Morse code, which says "Love, let's live."
Oh my God! Wow. So, what was your first tattoo?
My phoenix.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it a scary experience getting it? Or because I know you resonate with it, right?
Yes.
It's such a nice thing, a nice message, rising from the ashes and all. Was it a scary feeling, or were you like, this is a change that I need for myself?
I think at that time I was so ready to get something so permanent on myself, which kind of represented the journey I've been on. So the phoenix represented it so well. And that's why I've called my company the Phoenix Method Coaching as well, because it represents a journey. And for anything new to start, things have to kind of break down for the newness to happen, so that you bloom as a better version of yourself. So I don't think I was scared, though I did take a friend of mine and I was holding her hand But honestly, when it started, I was like, oh, okay, this is nothing.
Oh,
So,
what was like the most painful tattoo? Was there are you good with like pain tolerance? Because they are
uh,
pretty painful.
yeah. It really depends on where you get your tattoo. I think my most painful one was on my ring finger, which is my wedding date. And because it's so close to the bone,
Yeah, yeah.
that hurt. But the other places, because I'm nicely, you know, I try to lose weight, but I'm holding on to some so I'm happy for that. And so did
Wow, okay. So one last question in here.
Sure.
Before we wrap up, any message you'd like to give to the people watching? You can look into the camera and just say whatever you'd like to say.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, all I would like for everyone to know is reset is just checking in with yourself. And a lot of the times we are not truthful to ourselves. We try making excuses to ourselves as well. And yes, it's a little hard to do that, but the more true you are to yourself and you have that talk and conversation with yourself, the more you will find out what your strengths are, what you need to overcome, ask for the help you need, and just completely reset so that you feel free and limitless. So do be truthful to yourself.
Wow, that was great. So this brings us to the end of our conversation.
Thank you
I had
much.
so much fun.
I had so much fun too. Thank you for all these amazing questions. It was really good.
Thank you. And I think like because I've been like passionate about this since I was a child, I guess awareness came pretty early.
Mhm.
Mental awareness. But I think people should also like listen and understand this. That's why I was like super excited about this.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it was lovely having you. And thank you for watching the episode. If you liked it, thumbs up and subscribe and comment, all the stuff. And I will see you in our next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.